11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. What a fight! I think Guerrero won it.
Juan, the Hispanic causing panic, Lascano.
Smile from Manny Pacquiao. Oh, counter serve!
Thanks to those joining me live and those that'll be joining me on archive. The style here. If you're listening on the archive, hit the like button. 100 likes is the goal. You guys have been doing phenomenal. ATP later this week. Tomorrow I'll be on Christine's channel. Finally back at it. A lot going on. If you haven't already, check out the Liam Wilson and Oscar Valdez interviews. They're on this channel. You can always check those out. Have the short montages as well, and share them if you can. That'll be much appreciated. A lot going on, but I want to just focus on this topic here. By the way, shout out to everybody tuning in. Do boxers need to be brash and bold and go, go all out? If for lack of a better term, to they have to play some type of character. Do they have to cross lines, right? Or flirt with the lines in order to sell themselves? Is being humble not enough? Is letting your fist do the talking not enough? Right? Is what exactly do fighters do to sell themselves? Now, granted, a lot of this is just my opinion, all right? However, I have some evidence to back it up, all right? And I want to know what you guys think. What do you think makes somebody a star, a superstar? What do you believe a fighter needs to do to sell themselves and grow their profile in the sport of boxing specifically? I'd like to know your thoughts. I'd like for you to tell me what you think. This is what I think. First of all, personalities are like shoes. There isn't a one size fit all, right? Trash talking can work if the person can pull it off, right? Otherwise, it just comes off as forced and fake, and then you're actually better off not talking at all than coming off forced and fake, in my opinion, right? So it just depends. It depends, really. I think the health of the sport is not dependent for me anyway on one or two guys and how they specifically sell themselves. The health of the sport is going to come with activity, fighters fighting often, great fights. Because great fights is what makes fans of people for the most part. The diehards, the hardcore fans remember a fight that they saw somewhere down the line, right? Like fight fans remember, like I watched Chavez versus Maldry Taylor and I fell instantly in love with the sport. Many saw Gotti versus Ward and they fell in love with the sport, right? And the reality is that in those two fights specifically, there was no trash talk like that. There was no crazy stuff happening. Nobody was crossing lines. None of that was happening, right? So what does work? Well, I was listening. So let me backtrack a little bit and tell you where the idea of this video came from. I was watching Um, Shout out to Lyndon, a boxing deep dive. And if you haven't already, you could check out the interview that he did with Liam Wilson's trainer and with the manager of Tim Tszyu, Glenn Jennings. And it was interesting to me. It was interesting on something that was said about Tim Tszyu specifically. That was, does like does like Tim Tszyu have to act different than how he acted in Australia now that he's in America, right? Like, is that really necessary? Does he need to sell himself um, to any capacity or act different? And my answer is yes and no. That's my answer. All right. So Ben Harrington, the trainer of Lynn Wilson, brought it up, right? And it was brought up with the point that I guess Tim was confident going into the fight with Keith Thurman. He's been going back and forth with Keith Thurman, telling him he's going to knock him out. If you saw the press conference, told him to respect Mexican style and stuff like that. But the thing is this, right? This is just me. I don't think it's a different Tim Tszyu at all. I don't think Tim Tszyu's acting any differently. Really. I think he acted accordingly to the man in front of him because Keith Thurman came in with a lot of energy. And Tim just matched it, right? I see nothing wrong with that. It's my opinion. Telling a guy he's going to knock him out is pretty standard procedure. Yeah, I don't think that's really. I guess that's trash talk, but that's what fighters do. They go in the ring and they punch each other and try to knock each other out. So it's not. I don't see anywhere near flirting with a line or anything like that personally, right? I think what fighters need to be is themselves. That's what fighters need to be. Be yourself and open up more, right? And be relatable to people. That's one way to sell yourself. That's one way organically for people to gravitate towards you. All right. Like that's one way to do it. Shout out to Stephen Rivas, Eric Gomez, the GOAT Mario P. Anthony Sanchez, how's it going? Make sure you guys hit the like button, by the way, if you haven't already. Thank you for being here. If you're watching on X, if you're watching on YouTube, thank you. I don't think it's the one point. Shout out to Liam Wilson's trainer, by the way, Ben Harrington. Obviously, he'll be in the corner of Liam Wilson as he face off with Valdez. Liam will anyway. So it's going to be interesting. But he did mention Tim has to sell himself. He needs to show this side of himself now. I guess be more brash, be more talkative and not be this humble guy that never really has anything to say negative about his opponents or whatever. Like, here's the bottom line, bro. It's my personal opinion. I think that is Tim Tszyu, who we're seeing right now. That's him. Like, that's him 100%, right? I'm seeing the same Tim Tszyu I saw within Sydney when he fought Harrison. He's just acting accordingly to the man in front of him. That's all he's doing, right? I don't think, because I know the name Michelle Sonny came up and crossing the line, and there was like a fight in Australia recently in a no limit card with one of the guys in the main event was really trash talking a lot, and I guess sold the fight. But here's my thing. Like, all bullshit aside, Manny Pacquiao didn't act like that. Manny Pacquiao didn't go around trash talking and all that. Manny Pacquiao wasn't going around telling guys like he's going to do this and that and the third and flirt with lines and or whatever it is, or shove dudes and make mean mug and or whatever it is. Manny Pacquiao never did any of that, and Manny Pacquiao became a phenom in the United States. A phenom. Manny Pacquiao was on talk shows with Jimmy Kimmel. Manny Pacquiao was doing over 1 million buys on some pay-per-views. Manny Pacquiao was trending worldwide every time he fought on social media. Manny Pacquiao was being talked about in major publications, sports publications, athletes of all walks of life. He did tens of millions at the gate. And Manny Pacquiao was a humble cat from the Philippines. And Manny Pacquiao never went out of his way to act like a caricature. He never did it. What Manny Pacquiao did, right? He was likable. People looked at Manny, they were like, he was likable to them. They saw this guy, it's like he's just happy to be there. When the bell rings, there's a switch and he turns into somebody else. I think Top Rank in the United States did a great job promoting Manny Pacquiao, obviously. But he was relatable. That's what it was. He was relatable. People can resonate with his story. Boxing at a young age for a bag of rice. He was relatable. That's what people gravitated towards. Being relatable. Plus, he was kicking ass in the ring. The way he was destroying guys at one point is what really, and all the exciting fights he was on, that is what made Manny Pacquiao. Triple G. He sold out the big house, Madison Square Garden in the East Coast. And they sold out at the time called the Staples Center in Los Angeles, the Crypto Arena, in the West Coast. Sold it out from coast to coast. Had 2 fights with Canelo Alvarez, and those fights did over 1 million each. One of their fights did 28 million at the gate. The other one did about 23, I think, at the gate. Doesn't seem like there was a problem, right? Triple G wasn't around crossing line, and neither was Canelo. They weren't shoving each other and throwing punches at each other, and none of that was happening. The most Triple G did was say Mexican style, right? And embrace the Mexican fan base. So you had Mexicans for Triple G, and then people in general like to see him fight the way he was destroying guys on HBO. And he seemed relatable to people. And that's why they gravitated towards him. He never had to do anything crazy outside of the ring. He never had to do it. So there isn't a one size fits all here. It's different for every fighter, right? Ricardo Mayorga didn't speak a lick of English, but he talked a lot of trash. So when they would interpret what he said, when what he said, it had a very unique kind of feel to it, right? Now, I understood English and Spanish. Where people didn't speak English, it was like, whoa, what did he just say, right? But that worked for Ricardo Mayorga. That worked for him. When he said it, like it looked like he meant it. And he had charisma. Felix Trinidad talked a lot of trash. But Felix Trinidad was charismatic. Naturally charismatic. You could sense there's energy in it. You could sense when the dude's naturally charismatic. You could sense it. You can sense it when it's natural. Like Ali, of course Ali trash talked, but it was charismatic and clean and effective because of his delivery. It was natural. The way he did it was natural. When Ricardo Mayorga, in Spanish anyway, when Trinidad would do it, it came natural. Miguel Cotto was different. Miguel Cotto wasn't like Trinidad. Both from Puerto Rico, right? Miguel Cotto, a little more quiet, a little more reserved. We saw him come out of his shell sometimes, like he really got mad at Mayorga. And so when he got mad at Mayorga and he called him a payaso, like a clown, and he said it with authority, it worked because it was real. He really was mad at Ricardo Mayorga. He wasn't trying to shoot a promo WWE style and go in on Ricardo Mayorga. It was just an organic, real situation, right? It was a natural response to the person in front of him. All right? That's what it was. So that it is important, right? It is important to note that's important. Some fighters, just like people in general, right? Just like people. Some people are extroverts, some are introverts, some are something in between, right? So some people are loud and brash naturally. Some people talk loud naturally. Some people talk, they talk a little more calmly, right? Everybody's different, right? Like no one's the same. And what's important is for fighters to be themselves and be relatable. That's all you got to be. Be authentic. Be your authentic self and act accordingly to the person in front of you. All right? If anything, if Keith Thurman was saying all those things to Tim Tszyu, and Tim just sat there and said, "Yeah, I respect Keith Thurman. I hope for nothing but the best, and may the best man win." That would have been kind of fake, you know. Uh, we know you want to tell him you're going to knock him out, so just say it. See, when he says it, "I'm going to knock you out," it comes off so natural, right? And like everyone knows, like more than likely that's what's going to happen. So you could just kind of sense, like, yeah, the show's almost over, dude. He's about to knock you out, right? Manny Pacquiao, Triple G, never had to do any of that stuff, right? Even Canelo. Canelo was already a star before he lashed out in English, right? And a lot of people like Canelo, like he's speaking English now and he's saying motherfucker a lot and you're a horrible fighter, this and that and the third. But I'm going to be honest with you. Maybe you guys agree or disagree. I don't think that's helping Canelo sell anything. I think whoever's going to watch Canelo fight is going to watch Canelo fight. I don't think it matters if he's saying motherfucker to guys in English. I just don't think it matters. That's my opinion. He did his most buys before he started doing that. I'm just saying, right? Canelo Munguia is going to sell a lot of pay-per-views. They're not going to shove each other. They're not going to talk trash because that's not in their personality. And if they did it, it would come off fake, bro. And Canelo only does it accordingly. Like Canelo never starts it. He reacts accordingly, right? Ryder was respectful to him. He kept it respectful, right? And then you have fans out here saying, "Oh, come on, man. We need you to talk trash and sell the fight." You just, a lot of you guys saying that just love drama, bro. All right? A lot of you are going to watch it anyway, number one. Second, you just love drama. You just like creating drama for the sake of creating it. So you want these guys to talk trash and sell the fight just for the sake of selling the fight? I think if you put two fighters, two alpha males in an environment, right, where they're about to fight each other, right, and there's high stakes, a lot of money involved, and the winner moves on to make even more money, a lot of that competitive nature is going to come out naturally when it comes out. If they start trash talking in every fight, if every fight they're crossing the line, if every fight they're just going over the top, right? And it sounds like some Macho Man Randy Savage promo in every fight. Every fight, like it's, you know what I mean? Like it would get boring really fast. It would. I'll rather save it for the organic moments that come because the sport of boxing already creates those organic moments of tension, of trash talk, if you want to call it that. It already creates that environment naturally. It already does. You ever play sports when you're a kid? You ever play a game of chess with someone and talk trash? Like that's that's what you do when you're competitive. There's different levels of trash talk. I get it, but you don't think fighters are going to do that naturally? I don't want fighters to do it if they're not feeling it. If they're doing it just to do it, like when Mosley had Mayorga slap his girlfriend's ass because to help sell the fight. It just didn't resonate. It didn't work. Her reaction wasn't that believable. And when Mayorga was like, people were getting on, why'd you do that? And Mosley asked me to do it. It was kind of lame, bro. I just got to be honest. Kind of lame. We don't need a big fake show. Look, all Tszyu has to be is himself. And the more he's in the limelight, the more he's under those lights, the more comfortable he feels, the more himself he's going to be. Like you know what I mean? Like that's the way it is. He's going to become better at reading the room. He's going to become better on the mic as he goes back and forth with guys, just naturally. And all you got to do is tell the truth. That's all you got to do. And knock you out. That's it. You don't got to like what? Tell your mama jokes, and we don't need to do any of that. It's unnecessary, right? There's different ways to sell yourself in boxing and sell a fight. Because I seen plenty of fights where both fighters were perfectly respectful to each other, and the fight was a massive success at the box office. I seen fights where both guys were talking trash, and that sold a fight, right? I've seen a lot. Like it is what it is. I just think it's when it's authentic, when people could feel how real it is. So real, you cut it with a knife. And you're not going to accomplish that if it's fake. It's just not going to do it. And Manny Pacquiao was going around trying to talk trash and bro, I don't even know like if it would help him. To be honest with you, I think it would hurt him. I think people would be like, "Who's this fake dude?" Like, can you imagine Manny Pacquiao trying to talk trash? Can you imagine? Tszyu, I just think just comes off as very relatable, just being himself. You know, when Ryan Garcia was on Twitter talking about I know who killed Tupac, and this has been going crazy on Twitter, right? And Tszyu quote tweeted it like a couple days later. Was like, "So who killed Tupac?" Right? I thought that was funny. Like it's very simple, nothing crazy. I think that was kind of funny. That's just me, right? That's just me. Some guys just like there's certain it factors, right? There's certain it factors that you have, um, and certain like being a nice guy works for some guys. It just does. Being a humble guy works for some. Being a trash talker works for others, right? When the nice guy finally has enough of it and goes off on the trash talker, I think it's organic, real, and it's authentic, and people love it. You know what I mean? That's what people want. I don't want fighters from outside of the United States to come here and get this like and start thinking that they gotta like start being brash and like get outside of themselves in order to try to sell tickets and stuff, right? Now, again, it's very important when I say this. It doesn't mean you got to like be a mute and don't talk to the media and be short with people and get mad at tough questions and or um just sound so out of touch about shit and say shit that makes no sense and and like no, like you know what I mean? Like, of course that doesn't work, right? Of course that doesn't work. Of course, we're in a social media age, so of course a fighter should be active on social media, right? Of course, a fighter should do posts and stuff like that. Of course, like a fighter should put himself out there, but they have to be themselves. It might be themselves with the volume up a little bit, but yourself, right? Don't become a completely different thing because you supposedly want to. Do you guys remember Jesse Vargas when he was talking shit to Liam Smith? You guys remember that? Jesse Vargas was talking shit to Liam Smith, and if you guys haven't seen the clip, it looks fake, bro. Like Jesse Vargas gets in his face, and, yeah, I'm gonna beat your ass, yeah. Like it didn't work. It just didn't work, bro. Like I was like, what the fuck is wrong with this dude? It just didn't go with him, right? Some guys look menacing. Some guys look like a nice guy. Some guys like you have what you have, right? It's just about you being yourself. That's it. With the volume up a little bit. That is it. Right? Opening up more isn't being fake. It's you being yourself more. Right? That's what that is. Like Keith Thurman, to me, in my opinion, that press conference when he first talked and shit, it looked fake to me. It was just fake, over the top, WWE-ish, right? Him came off as real. He came off as authentic, saying, "I'm going to knock you out. Mark my words. I'm going to knock you out." Like Keith Thurman's like he was just over the top with the lisp and like whatever, but it was just a bit too much. You know what I mean? So it's just about your personality, man. And the reality is, some guys just aren't cut it. They just don't cut it for the trash talk. Like they just don't. Some guys just aren't good at it, and that's okay. Your profession is to be a boxer. Your profession is to kick ass in the ring anyway. Like, you know what I mean? But like Manny Pacquiao, I never seen him talk trash, but I would imagine sucks, right? But it's not his personality anyway, all right? And I just wanted to come on here, say that. Oscar De La Hoya became the golden boy, who wasn't like that. Canelo, for the most part, hasn't been like that. I could go down the list, man. Like it's not. I'm just saying. You know what I mean? Shout out to Nando, by the way. Shout out to you, brother. MAW, shout out. JC, and then like that No Limit card. I don't live in Australia, but yet I don't live yet. Who knows? Maybe one day I'll move to Australia. You never know. But and I'll come on here with different accent and shit. But here's the thing. Like now again, shout out to Ben Harrington, trainer of Liam Wilson. And maybe I'm wrong here, but was there really buzz for that previous pay-per-view on No Limit? Like, did it really like because I was saying, oh, he sold the event. Guys have to do that to sell the event. Did it sell it? What was the main event? Can you Australian guys tell me? The main event. You know what I mean? That was a good line, Black Sunday for Manny Pacquiao. But again, it goes back to my point of reacting accordingly, right? Chavez, Chavez talk trash at times, but it was just different, right? It was more like, oh, that dude has a loud mouth. I'm going to shut him up. I'm going to let my fist do the talking in the ring. Boom, done. Like that. That's all he did. That's authentic. You know what I mean? That's authentic, bro. Who the hell was the let me look it up. Let me go to the schedule here. The Australian guys, they're like an hour ahead, and they still haven't gotten the message. So let me they're a whole day ahead. Let me see. Oh, there we go. So Sam Goodman fought this guy, cannot pronounce it. Mark Shields, I think. So Mark Shields is over here talking trash. They were shoving. They were doing all the things, all the WWE stuff, right before the fight. Didn't sell. Like, was that like a blockbuster pay-per-view event in Australia? Or would it have sold better if Sam Goodman was in there against a guy people knew had a shot to beat him? Right? Because a guy everyone knows is going to lose talking trash is like, it's like a BB gun threatening a freight train, bro, coming at it. Like you know what I mean? Like, beep, beep. It don't mean shit to me. I think Sam Goodman would have sold the event the same way. Maybe it got the people there in attendance more excited for it. But my point is, I just don't think all that stuff is really as necessary as people think. People like it when it feels real, when it's organic, right? And that's when they like it. Like the reason people liked Barrera versus Morales is that those two really did not like each other. Like they did not like each other. That was real. They didn't like each other before the fight. They didn't like each other after the fight. They get along, but recently they had a little bit of a back and forth. But even then, but they get along a lot better now. Now that they're older and wiser, and they're like, maybe this boxing thing wasn't that serious, I guess, right? But that was a real rivalry. You know what I mean? And I think the sport as a whole just needs to give us consistent fights, exciting fights. I think guys talking trash and then starting to run around the ring isn't like, I don't want to watch that. You're going to talk trash, you better show up to fight. I don't even care if you get knocked out, but you better come in, you better fight. I'll tell you that right now. You're going to talk like that. You know what I mean? But that's just my opinion. With that said, I have nothing else to say. I will say that. Let me end with this. One thing I do agree with that was said on the podcast. Again, shout out to the deep dive. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. And I know Ben Harrington brought this up, and Glenn Jennings touched on it. How different the American box. I found that very interesting. How different the American boxing gyms are. I think it was trainer Harrington. He said, like he was like, man, the way they talk trash. If you acted like that in an Australian gym, you'll never be invited back for work. You know what I mean? But in the U.S., it's normal to talk trash and then talk shit in the corner and all that. Like maybe it's not as polite or whatever, right? The American culture being brash and or more brash and being bold and being like in your face. I do think there's a lot of truth to that. I think the culture of the boxing gyms are like that. Who they're not all exactly the same, obviously. Like I think you're gonna find some differences here and there. But my point is, I think that is just like the culture that's been in the gyms for years here. Like it's the way it is, and most of them anyway. Like I remember stories of like dudes going to Kronk and first day they put them in sparring and break their nose or something. and with a bloody nose, give them a bloody nose in the first day. Because if they don't come back the next day, then hey, the shit ain't for them, right? But if it is for them, then they would come back. And that's when they felt, okay, it's worth it to train these guys. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I saw Henry Ramirez a couple of weeks ago. He posted a picture of 2 kids. I think they were like 8 and 9 or something, or 12 and 11. I forget the age. I think it was 12 and 11. And they had like bloody noses with their headgear. They posed with a smile and stuff. And people give them a hard time. But I'm telling you right now, like that's most kids that started boxing at a young age. That's at least here. It's pretty normal. Like I'm saying. Like I remember being a very young kid. I remember this wasn't even in a boxing. This was in one of my uncle's houses, and we're in the living room, and we're throwing gloves. I was like 9 years old. I remember having a bloody nose. Went and watched it, whatever, fuck it. Didn't tell my mom. I would have got in trouble. But it is what it is. Like, it's I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying it's right, but it's obviously been effective because look at all the great American fighters that there's been over the decades, right? I'm not saying things can be changed or that it's the only way. It's not what I'm saying at all. It's just that is the culture. You know what I mean? So it doesn't really upset me, right? That's still the culture. I will say that. But what are you gonna do? Well, shout out to Mr. Boxing Today too. Shout out to you, brother. But I just wanted to say that. Nothing else to say. I appreciate you guys tuning in, man. I am tired. I worked all day and all that, so I'm tired. And but I'll be back tomorrow. I'm gonna go get some much needed rest. But I want to thank everybody. If any one of you is going to be in Vegas, let me know. I'll be in Vegas late March. I'll arrive on the 28th. I'll be there. I'll leave Sunday morning. So let me know. Maybe you could buy me a cold one. For all the years of all this boxing content. I'm just saying, I just put it out there. You don't have to, but I just put it out there. But in all seriousness, if you guys are out there, we do some type of meet and greet at some point of that weekend. But anyway, thanks to everybody for tuning in. Hit the like button. Stephen, how's it going, brother? And I'm out, guys. Peace.